Mr. Cage's question of the day: have you ever been a victim or innocent bystander of an emotional drive-by? Now, drive-bys in real life and a practical sense are tragedies. Remember, hurting people, especially when we suppress the hurt people. A person or a group of people can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And if that individual is targeting certain people or a certain person, people get hurt. I want to emphasize that sometimes when we are involved in these drive-bys, practically people are in the wrong place at the wrong time. In addition, as we make a parallel from the practical drive-by to the emotional drive-by, in this case, that fact is true, that the people, the victims or the innocent bystanders are subjugated to the individual who is spreading or spraying emotions that were suppressed because that person, the person that's spraying, was in the wrong place at the wrong time in terms of their mentality. I'm going to add a couple statements to this question of the day as a support. We can get some elaboration, identify some mentalities or some triggers, and go a little bit deeper. So the people that are quote unquote victims of the drive-by transform or transition from victims to victors. We give you the wisdom keys on this. Another thought I want to add to this question is an emotional drive-by occurs when a person externalizes trauma, and you, me, we are the innocent bystanders. Hashtag do not take it personal, because if you personalize it, you're going to internalize it. It's going to be a part of your belief system, and it's going to equate to a lifestyle. And that lifestyle is going to equate to us being restricted and rigid and avoiding conflict or confrontation. The person that is conducting the drive-by has a traumatic experience. It could have been in childhood. It could have been in another age where the perception or the understanding of that event or experience has manifested into a belief system, and it has manifested into a lifestyle, all based on perception, because perception equates to understanding. This person has suppressed the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts associated with this traumatic experience, and you just happen to be the person involved in the scenario, the situation, or the conflict where that suppression came to the surface and you got hit like a volcano. Many times, this conflict comes from a difference of perspective or point of view, or a misunderstanding. Some people have experienced trauma in such a way that anything, when I say anything, I mean experience that looks like, smells like, feels like, tastes like something or an occurrence that they have been involved with, that person will transition into flight or fight or Stuxville. Because from the psychology of the person, I'm going to protect myself from anything, any person, any experience, any thought that will result in me feeling that hurt again. And when I feel the hurt, even though it's valid, the feeling, but it's not authentic because it's a misprocessed experience, I'm still going to manifest my defense mechanisms. And my defense mechanism is going to be fight. So the person that is the victim of this oppression is not really a victim. And I'm going to give you this master key, because what it's going to do is it's going to salvage our relationships to the degree where we can talk with one another in a respectful, calm, non-volatile way. And maybe we may not restore the relationship, but maybe we can salvage each other's thoughts, feelings, and emotions as humans. Another thought I want to add before I give you the master key on the term person that is the quote unquote victim into the victor is this. A person's traumatic experience can affect me. It can, but in some cases, it had nothing to do with me. A person's traumatic experience can affect me in a negative sense. But remember, in some cases, it didn't have anything to do with you. So if a person is manifesting this suppression because it's externalizing from the internal trauma, it may affect you. It can. But in some cases, it had nothing to do with you. Remember the saying in context, hurting people hurt people, but hurting people sometimes hurt people without the intentionality of hurting them. We're just manifesting what we've suppressed for a substantial period of time. So Cage, I have been a victim of an emotional drive-by. How do I transition from a victor or a victim into a victor? How do I not allow this person that I'm close to, this person that has a near and dear space in my heart, how do I not externalize it and build a wall and hold a grudge? Well, number one, we got to remember to not personalize it, even though it can be difficult. And how do we not personalize it? Is that we understand that every person on the face of the planet has an element of humanity in them. Anyone is capable of anything at any time. So we may hold a person up to higher regard for their title or for our relationship with them over a substantial period of time. They've proven themselves to be authentic. They've proven themselves to be a person who walks in integrity. They've proven themselves to be trustworthy, but there's still an element of humanity, meaning that at any time a person can pop off or clap back if the environment or the stage is set for a conflict that they don't want to deal with. And a conflict that we don't like to deal with is the internal conflict. This is what it is, but this is what I've been programmed to identify what this is. And when those two perceptions don't line up, if there's a tremendous hurt, I have to fight, I have to flight, I have to shut down and stay in Stucksville. So you may have been a victim of an emotional drive-by. Remember, it is not personal, that every person has an element of humanity within them, and you don't have to be friends with the person, even though they may be a family member. You don't have to be in close proximity with them. You can still love people from a distance and connect with them by association. Because sometimes when this does occur, it's emotional drive-by that we get hit by, we're looking for an apology. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't look for apology. I'm saying that you should build your life off an apology from someone else. Our lives cannot stop because we're looking for an apology, or we're saying that people owe us. Because if you owe me and I don't get paid, I'm gonna be upset. And you may owe me, but on a higher level or from a higher place of living, the person that committed the crime of an emotional drive-by that we can consider as violence because it disturbs peace of them and ourselves, that person owes it more to themselves than to anybody else.